Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully you are doing well. In today's session, we would talk about the types of communication. As before you can see that there are various types of communication that we have in our daily affairs, in our daily routine. So communication, it is a Greek word which is derived from communicare or communico, which means to share. So, in a way, communication is sharing, communication is caring, community implies a group of people living in one place. Languages are the codes of communication. These are the codes that we uh, encode and decode while talking to each other, such as the letters of any language, such as pa, ba, ta, da of English, or alif, ba, pa, ta, sa of Arabic or Urdu. They can be part and parcel of any code structure that we have in our daily matters or daily affairs. So, types of communication, as you could see, that there are two types: main, verbal, as well as non-verbal. So, in this session, we are going to talk about verbal communication, and non-verbal communication is also very significant, which involves kinesics, body language, paralinguistic features, or which where we use our body gestures, our hand movements, or facial expressions in order to express ourselves. That we would talk in another session. So verbal is further subdivided into formal as well as informal, which is formal is divided into downward and upward within the offices. Informal is divided into lateral, diagonal, and grapevine. So we will talk about verbal communication in detail, that various types of that particular verbal communication is there in our daily affairs, in our daily matters. So, non-verbal communication could take place through symbols, such as various symbols displayed on road, traffic signals. Non-verbal communication could go without verbal communication, such as hand gestures. Verbal communication, verbal can't go without non-verbal communication. So, verbal is very essential for communicating our messages. uh, that particular messages could take place through the help of non-verbal communication. So body gestures, as you could show, body language, it plays 50% of the role of our entire communication. So if our body gestures are positive, if our power gestures are positive, then we could impress. But if your body gestures are very meek, very mild, very fragile, very insignificant, then people are going to treat us likewise as well. So it's body movement, as one of our teachers used to say, that 50% of your social rejection or acceptance is determined by your social conduct or by your body movement. So body movement is very important. Tone of voice is also very important. uh, Tone of voice, which we in Urdu call as lehja, which is very significant. And the words are only 10%, whereas the tone of voice are 40%. So if you, in a joking manner, use slang words towards someone as well, but those could be taken as very positive gesture. But if in an angry manner, some positive words could also mean very negative in that particular context. So, verbal communication, formal versus informal. Formal is used within offices, as from the dressing of the pictures in this particular slide. You can see that it is an official communication going on between colleagues, whereas in another, you could see that how everyone is sitting very casually, dressed up very casually, is chit chatting or gossiping with each other. For formal communication, we use this type of communication in offices and social gathering. Two types, downward and upward. Downward, higher designation to lower designation, such as boss ordered his worker. Here, effect of this type of communication is very much upward communication. So you see that how downward communication or upward communication, they both take place when boss is talking to his or her subordinates, or similarly upward communication when lower rank or lower designation people talk to the people higher in ranks or higher in designations, workers request to his boss. So the effect of communication is less than downward communication. So in downward communication, boss could use power gestures, boss could use imperatives or ordering forms, whereas in upward communication, the employee or subordinate would only be using requesting words such as please, sir, if I could, if I may. So very humble and very polite language would be utilized by the person lower in ranks. So vertical as well as horizontal communication. Vertical communication, you could see that from team leader, management to subordinates, and horizontally, similarly, team colleagues to other departments. So it takes place from department to department, from colleagues to colleagues, and various people similar in ranks. So informal communication, we use the three types of informal communication while talking to our friends, families. The first one is lateral, the second one is diagonal, and third one is grapevine. So we are going to see all three one by one. So lateral communication is found among the members working at the same level, at the same scale, at the same space. So peer group such as colleagues of a department having similar rank, working with one another in a very conducive environment. Uh, it is the most effective form of communication where barriers of subordinates or boss is not present over here, because boss is absent, and when the colleagues are sitting, so they have similar types of understanding. But if the boss is available, then definitely their attention would be directed towards the boss, and all the orders would be issued from the side of the boss. So lateral communication, as in the picture you can see that how it is taking frame place from person to person, from group to group, from office to office. The horizontal information flow that occurs both within and between the departments. The purpose of lateral communication is coordination. So we coordinate with one another. So diagonal communication, as you could see, that diagonal, the path is the mixture of verbal as well as vertical as well as horizontal movement. So you could see that in vertical, from top level to a lower level, and horizontal from department to department. So the communication takes place between various sections or various fractions or factions of that particular company or that particular workplace. And large communication, various departments need communication support from each other, so they talk to each other in order to resolve or in order to work in a very conducive environment. So grapevine is the last type of communication of verbal communication, which is also called as backbiting or backstabbing. It is very much apparent while having a look at various departments or observing various departments, or between the colleague there is always politics at stake. Some backbiters or backstabbers are always present, who would not miss any opportunity of bringing bad name or bestowing or degrading the other colleagues who are working diligently. So a backbiter is a colleague, or a backstabber is a colleague, an employee who acts like a friend in uh, public and but bad mouth about you in private. So in a way, these people are hypocrites, or they have double standard. They would meet you in public with a smiling face, but whenever they are behind you, they would be plotting, scheming, and bringing you down at any cost. So this happens, and one efficient worker or a communicator must be aware of such backbiting or backstabbing, which is a very normal part and parcel of any workplace. So here today we talked about various types of communication, and formal versus informal, and non-verbal versus verbal communication. So as you could see that how formal and informal differ from each other in various categories. So if you have any questions related to these ideas or concepts, so you could ask in the section below, which is titled as comment section. So thank you for your presence and participation. Stay tuned and God bless. Allah Hafiz.